Hey everybody, Amy here. Today we're going to be talking about mood management with essential oils. So let me share my screen here and we will get started. All right, here we are. So like I said, today's topic is mood management using essential oils. The plan for today, we are going to be talking about why you would use essential oils. We'll talk about the benefits of using an essential oil, some of the science and research behind essential oils when it comes to mood management, which is way more interesting than it sounds, I promise. We're going to talk about how emotions are connected to physical ailments and the relationship there. I want to talk about usage suggestions, so some ideas of how you're going to want to use an oil if you're going to use it for mood support. Keys for success. I definitely want to talk about doTERRA's emotional aromatherapy system because I think it's amazing. I'm going to be sharing with you a little bit about my story of emotional healing, my recommendations for every home. And last, I have a recipe book I put together for you and also a list of some suggested resources that I think are must-haves. So let's get started here. Why essential oils? So there are obviously prescription drugs that manage mood, and I think a lot of the population is using those right now. I think the negative to that is that there's often additional medications that people have to use to manage the side effects. So I think there's a bit of a snowball effect there that's not super fun to be dealing with. With essential oils, you can save money and time, so you can use them right at home. They're pennies per dose, and you're going to get quick results. I love the convenience of them and the affordability of them, and that they're a natural solution. Essential oils are multi-purpose. I would never reach into a traditional medicine cabinet and pull something out and use it for my mood, for my health, and to clean my windows and my bathrooms. I would never do that. So I love that I can do that with essential oils. And I just want to mention here a bit of a disclaimer that lifestyle is very important when it comes to mood management. And I don't want to dismiss that, but that's not the focus of what we're talking about today. But I do want to mention here that diet and gut health and exercise and sleep and hormones all play a part in mood. So lifestyle changes can definitely help improve your mood too. I just want to highlight some of the mental and emotional benefits of essential oils. It's kind of a long list here, so here we go. They help cleanse negative memories. They reduce stress, anxiety, and tension, and can help offset mental fatigue. They're great for uplifting mood and calming the central nervous system, relaxing muscular tension, inducing restful sleep, invigorating the senses, increasing feelings of courage and determination. They promote a cathartic effect, so facilitating the release of stuck emotions, and supporting DNA correction and expression. So that's a pretty long list we've got going, all good things. How do essential oils affect the brain? So let's talk about the blood-brain barrier a little bit, and if you're not familiar with what that is, it's a filtering mechanism that keeps the circulating blood in your body from like certain things passing through to your brain cells and your cerebrospinal fluid that could potentially be damaging or harmful. And the research shows that 98% of small molecule drugs can't cross the blood-brain barrier. So in come sesquiterpenes, and this is a chemical constituent that's commonly found in frankincense and sandalwood, research shows, and this can actually pass through the blood-brain barrier, which is really an amazing thing. I also think that patchouli might be on that list as well. So sesquiterpenes are going to be directly interacting with brain cells, and they're impacting the brain therapeutically. You might be wondering, what about other essential oils? What about other oils that don't have sesquiterpenes that aren't passing through the blood-brain barrier? So there's something that I want to talk about, how those oils can help with your mood management as well. So our brain, aroma, and emotional response. Inhaled aromatic compounds from essential oils travel to the olfactory bulb, and this is essentially our emotional brain. And the olfactory bulb is the only place in the body where the central nervous system is exposed directly to the environment. Basically, the odor are going to stimulate, they're going to basically trigger a series of brain chemicals. An example of this would be lavender. Lavender triggers the production of serotonin, which helps to relax the mind and body. We all know that lavender is very relaxing and calming. I also want to talk about the amygdala, which is another really important part of our limbic system. The amygdala actually is responsible for storing and releasing of emotional trauma. So it's a very powerful and important part of our brain. And it's instantly stimulated by smell. So the amygdala instantly receives incoming scent information before other higher thinking brain centers receive it. So by the time the information reaches those higher thinking centers and we actually figure out what we just smelled, our body has already responded. The scent has triggered an emotional response in our body. So it's really pretty amazing. And essential oils, they can be a powerful key to help unlock and release emotional trauma because of the way aroma works with our amygdala. So if you think like if an individual has a significant memory or significant emotion attached to an experience in the past, if you can kind of shift thinking in that with aroma, it can help that significant emotion and memory be released. And the brain is designed to use aroma to soothe and protect itself, which is really an amazing thing if you think about it. There are some clinical research articles that I just want to reference. You can look some up on your own too, but ylang ylang was shown to significantly decrease blood pressure, and subjects reported being calmer and more relaxed than the control group. Lemon is great for soothing anxiety and uplifting the mood, and clary sage also does the same when used aromatically. Roman chamomile improved focus and decreased hyperactivity in teenagers. Whoop whoop. Melissa reduced stress without slowing activity level. Wild orange reduced patient anxiety and increased positivity in dental offices. Peppermint improved cognitive performance and mood. So that was just kind of like a long list, but there really are a lot of really great articles out there. You can look at PubMed, is a great place to go look, pubmed.gov. Your thoughts as chemical reactions. This is something I find really fascinating, so hang with me here. Your thoughts are powerful. If you didn't already know that, I hope you'll begin to understand that by the end of this slide even, or at least this presentation. So basically, thought, and the instant a thought occurs, our hypothalamus, which is like the control center of our brain, turns that thought into hundreds of neuropeptides. And each one of those neuropeptides is associated with the dominant emotion of that corresponding thought. Neuropeptides, they're like small protein-like molecules made up of amino acids, and they are responsible for helping neurons communicate. And neurons are basically the functional unit of the nervous system. So they play a really important role. In neuropeptides, they stimulate hundreds of activities in the brain and the body, including food intake, learning, taste, smell, and memory. So they're very, very important. So at the end of the day, neuropeptides are like our thoughts and actual molecules. They are carried through the bloodstream, transmitted from one neuron to another, and they interact with a special receptor on the neuron's membrane. Think like a lock and a keyhole. And then the amino acids in that neuropeptide are absorbed by the cells. So here's the kicker. Your thoughts become a part of the cells in your body. There was research that was done that showed that cells actually crave neuropeptides that they are exposed to the most. So if you're always thinking negative thoughts, those cells are basically going to ask the hypothalamus to produce those specific neuropeptides, and it creates a self-fulfilling emotional prophecy. Another way to look at it would be like the daily news. So if you think of the daily news, there are writers and editors that are looking at what's going on in the world, and they're producing articles based on their perception of what's going on, and then they're publishing those articles via the internet or the newspaper to the world, and it essentially becomes kind of the reality of the world that we live. It's what we're all taking in. And the same is true of each one of us when you think about this process that I just talked about with our thoughts. We're looking at our surroundings and at our world and what we're perceiving, and we're developing thoughts based on those perceptions. And when we think those thoughts, it's like the daily news. They're published via the neuropeptides to our body, and they go out, and that eventually becomes our reality. So this is a really powerful process to be able to understand. And if we can kind of begin to rewrite our thoughts and commit to being good about not thinking negative thoughts, it will really have an effect on our health and well-being, which is a really powerful thing. Let's just take Sarah as an example. This is a made-up person, a young mom with 2 kids. She's busy with kids and she has little time for her small part-time business. But the income from this business is vital to her family's livelihood. So she's worrying more and more about how is she going to accomplish her goals and get everything done. And so to combat this worry, she's staying up late and she's more tired each day. So exhaustion is setting in. And then she was tired, so she missed her 3-year-old son's play date. And then she chastises herself and thinks negatively about the way that she mothers. Then she spends more time with her kids at night to try and make up for that, and gets even more behind at work. Has more negative thoughts now about her capabilities as a businesswoman, has increased headaches and susceptibility to colds because she's tired and worn down, and now she's sick, and that's consuming more of her time, and now she's scolding herself for not meeting her goals and having more negative thoughts. So it really is a vicious cycle, and I think this just again illustrates the power of lifestyle, but thoughts and how they play into what's going on in our lives. The next 2 slides actually are a graphic that I think you might want to take a screenshot or come back to this, but there definitely is an emotional root to physical ailments, and there's a connection there. So emotional stress, whether it's acute or chronic, has profound effects on our bodies. Some people experience headaches and digestive issues, lack of sleep, heart disease even, from the experience of common emotions like grief and anxiety and depression, because they take a toll on our immune system and on our cells and tissues and organs. So they really do tax our body. So this is the front side of the handout and the back side of the handout. You'll have to excuse my notes. I was feverishly taking notes. But I think this is a really great tool to reference. So how would you use an essential oil if you were hoping to support your mood? Diffusion is a great way. You can diffuse during morning routines to get a great start to your day. You can diffuse throughout the day. You might want stimulating oils for work or study time, or uplifting oils if you're low on energy. And during bedtime routines, it's great to use sedative oils, calming and relaxing oils. You really can't go wrong. I think diffusion is such a great way. You can inhale oils for benefits for your mood. Throughout the day, it can help clear your mind just by inhaling directly from an open bottle. Or you could rub a drop of oil between your hands and then breathe in the aroma that way. Like one of my favorite combinations would be wild orange and peppermint, or wild orange and frankincense even, or all 3, and smelling that kind of midday to just kind of keep motoring through. Topically, you can use oils to support mood. You would apply the oils to the bottoms of your feet, chest, temples, and pulse points. A bath is another way for maybe, at the end of the day, you could add 2 to 5 drops to your water, and I would avoid hot or cooling oils, and I would also encourage you to use an emulsifier. What that means, so oils and water obviously don't mix. So if you just add your drops of oil right into the plain old bathtub, they're just going to float on top. And when you get in, the oil is going to go right, it's just boom, oil on you. So an emulsifier will help spread the oil throughout the water. Some people use Epsom salts, and I think that's okay, but I kind of feel like when the Epsom salts dissolve, the oil floats back up to the top of the water. So personally, I like to use just a tiny bit of milk. Milk is a great emulsifier, and I add my drops of oil to that and then put it into the bathtub. So a calming bath at the end of the day is really great. And massage is another way too. It can help ease tension and improve circulation. You can massage on feet for quick entry into the bloodstream. Some keys for success. These are just some things I've learned along the way. You're going to want to be consistent. Don't use an oil, once a month for an emotion you're dealing with. Use it every day, 3 times a day. Less is more and consistency is key. Don't be afraid to be creative or mix it up. I think that oils aren't always black and white. There's sometimes gray, and every body is different and every brain is different. So use your intuition and go with your gut and do what you think is going to work for you, and don't be afraid to make something up. Essential oils do not do the work for you. They do not do the heavy lifting of working through an emotional trauma. They create the space and the opportunity for it, in my opinion, but they don't, I'm not claiming that they're going to magically fix you, but I think they're an incredible way to go about emotional healing. And I think it's important to pay attention because oftentimes the process is gradual. So keep a journal or keep a record of how you're feeling each day and what you're noticing. And I think that I don't have anything in this presentation about it, but maybe just Google it. The healing crisis, it's the Herxheimer response, I believe, is, I believe in it, and I believe it's a real thing. And so I think it's good to be paying attention to what your body's telling you based on what oils you're using. So those are just some tips for you. doTERRA's emotional aromatherapy system is kind of one of those things that I feel like, what did I do before I had these 6 oils? Basically, doTERRA's done the work for you. I'm like, I don't always have time to be mixing up my own blends and whatever. If I'm feeling a certain emotion, I want to know that I can go to my oil box and pull something out and be like, boom, this is what I'm using. So this emotional aromatherapy system is very easy and accessible for anyone to deal with, help support when they're dealing with common negative emotions. And so it's a line of proprietary essential oil blends, and it represents 6 categories of emotional well-being. So it's Motivate is the encouraging blend, Cheer is the uplifting blend, Passion is the inspiring blend, Forgive is the renewing blend, Console is the comforting blend, and Peace is the reassuring blend. So again, you can use these aromatically. You can put some in your hands and breathe in deeply, and you can dilute and apply to the insides of your wrist, the back of your neck. I put some on my diffuser necklace, which is another great way to use oils for mood. But I think they're really, really amazing. How it works is it comes in this great little handy box, and there's this emotional aromatherapy wheel. And so basically you're going to identify what emotion or maybe 2 to 3 emotions you're dealing with on the emotional aromatherapy wheel. And then you're going to select a corresponding essential oil blend. So what you can't see, I had to make this graphic big enough, but there's one more outer circle that shows what oil corresponds with each grouping. So for example, if you're feeling discouraged, gloomy, and distressed, you might reach for your Cheer or your Motivate, depending on what you're feeling. So again, I just feel like it's very easy. I feel something, I look at the wheel, I grab an oil and I apply it, I dilute it and apply it or diffuse it. And it's an amazing transformation as far as the benefits that the aroma can do for you. So my personal story of healing, there's 2 oils that I want to talk about. The first I want to talk about is grapefruit, and I'm going to read a little bit out of a book. I'll share this book with you in my list of resources. But grapefruit is the oil of honoring the body. Grapefruit teaches true respect and appreciation for one's physical body. It supports individuals who struggle to honor their physical body and are caught in patterns of mistreatment. The acts are often motivated by a hate and disgust buried within the psyche, which gets directed towards the physical body. There is a dissatisfaction that persists. This oil assists an individual in listening to their true physical needs and impulses, and it helps them take responsibility for what they feel. And it teaches that no amount of food can fill a hole in the heart. As the individual takes ownership of their feelings and gets the help they need in addressing them, they no longer have a need to hide their feelings behind food, body abuse, strict regimens, eating disorders, or other forms of addiction. So I was actually using grapefruit oil for something totally unrelated to my emotional state. But years ago, I struggled with an eating disorder, and I think that honoring the body is a huge part of that. So I was using the grapefruit for something else, and about a month into it, I remember being like, I don't feel so terrible about the way I look, and I don't mind looking at myself in the mirror or in pictures and things like that. And I feel like healing comes in layers, but I think that for me to move past some of the emotional issues of the way I felt about my body was really significant, and I really feel like grapefruit was a huge part of that. So I was super grateful for that. And the other oil was Aroma Touch, and this is the massage blend, and it's called the Oil of Relaxation. So just a couple sentences about this. Massage blend assists the body in calming, relaxing, and releasing physical tension. On an emotional level, massage blend moves an individual from stiffness of heart and mind to openness and flexibility. As an individual's body relaxes, so does their mind. And so again, I just, without knowing that, diffused this oil one night, and I remember very vividly in my dreams going through like room to room, person to person, through like painful experiences in my life, like things that I held on to that carried a lot of weight. And it was so interesting. And when I woke up, I was thinking about it all day and processing it. And when I looked back on those emotions and experiences and those people that carried such significance, such emotional significance, I felt like that had been released. Like I was able to kind of work through some of that and move past that. So I thought this whole emotions and mood management thing was really kind of crazy. But I was very humbled by having 2 experiences with it of my own. And now that I understand a little bit more of the science behind it, I think it's a really incredible thing. For me, I think that there's like a certain set of mood management must-haves for a happy home. And the first is obviously the emotional aromatherapy kit, because you can do so much with those 6 oils. And I think that it's great to have the fractionated coconut oil with it. I think that these oils are really, really powerful, and I dilute them when I use them. Some of them say that you should dilute them because they have warmer oils like cinnamon or other warmer oils in them. But I just think that diluting them is a really great habit. So the emotional aromatherapy kit is $159, and the fractionated coconut oil is $12. So that comes to roughly about like $171. So for $171, you have covered your family's mood management needs. They're uplifting their moods and caring for them in that way, in a totally natural way, which I think is a really incredible thing. And here's what you'll get. So not only will you'll be all set for mood management in your own home, but there's quite a few freebies you can take advantage of this month. It'll get you a free lemon, lavender, and peppermint, which is a $68.66 retail value, which is super, super generous. And it will also, if you place it through an LRP, you're going to earn anywhere based off of you get free shipping and rewards points. You can earn anywhere from 25 to 58 rewards points for free oils, depending on what percentage back you're at. So, that is a lot of freebies that we're looking at. You're going to earn anywhere from $94 to $127 in free oils. You know, if you have a wish list or you have something that you've been wanting to get, this is a great time to be earning some of those rewards points so you can use them on oils that you're wanting. And this link right here, this is where you're going to find the resources and recipes that I've put together. So there are 3 reference books that I think are absolute must-haves. The first was the one that I read out of, Emotions and Essential Oils, and it comes with an emotions wheel, which Whitney was eating in our first video, but it's handy for more than just teething. And there's a Living Healthy and Happily Ever After book, which talks all about the process of our thoughts and the science behind that. And then the Essential Life book, I really like because it's got a lot of really, really great sections on the limbic system and mood management. Tons of really good information. I love that reference book. So you'll get, there's a link to all 3 of those, as well as I put together a little recipe book. So that's at that link. So that's what I have for today. I hope that you feel like that you learned something. I hope that you found it meaningful and enlightening, even enlightening. I think that when I understood that I could take care of our health in our own home, it was very empowering. But then to add the layer of I can take care of moods and emotions in our own home, and I don't have to just necessarily ride the waves of craziness, was also very empowering as well. So thanks for listening today, and we will see you next week.